of what people assume about me. I'm pretty much an open book. Good morning, everyone. I hope y'all are having a good day.
Open air, side by side we sway there in all the colors.
Did you go to college? Ever been in the workforce? Or have you always been a stay-at-home wife?
Lonesome dove, folded on the lawn chair in all the colors. Summer love. Remember when we were getting nowhere fast?
She had these awesome, cool vintage Nikon cameras, and she had a dark room in the 70s and 80s. She took awesome pictures. I love looking at her old pictures.
Some stuff like that.
Lately my thoughts got me distant. Darker days filling up darker minds. Stuck in this.
Good morning, everyone. I hope y'all are having a good day. I thought that this week I might take y'all along with me while I do a few different tasks, both knitting and farm related. It's Monday morning and I've got the kids started on school and I have a few things I need to do today. I'm going to do some things for the chickens, and of course I need to gather the eggs, and I'm also going to boil up a big pot of eggs that I'm going to use in some different things like tuna salad and chicken salad, and then just to have some boiled eggs to eat. So I need to get all of that done this morning. I'm also going to cast on the tie for my zosia wrap cardigan, and so maybe we can hang out while I do that. Hello y'all, I am back inside. I have actually changed and cleaned up a little bit because heat in Arkansas is no joke. I was pretty wet with sweat. And so I put on a new shirt and cleaned up a little bit, and I've actually got a couple of minutes. So I need to cast on the tie for my zosia wrap cardigan, which I need to finish this week. The only thing I have left is the tie, but I think that might be one of the bigger jobs of the sweater. So this is my zosia wrap in the drops alpaca or brushed alpaca silk. I have 2 sleeves and a wrap cardigan. It's so soft and squishy. And I'm at the point now of the waistband. I had actually started a waistband before, which was the original design, and it was wider. This was it. I've actually ripped it out, and I was trying to finish ripping the rest of this out to reclaim that last bit of yarn, and my yarn broke and it's kind of knotted up right here. So I just stopped. I don't even know if I'll try to reclaim the rest of this yarn. Looks like a pretty nice gauge swatch. So Alex did an original waistband, which was pretty wide, and then she ended up adding a second waistband option for a thinner one with a thinner tie, and I have decided to go with that because as far as bows go, more is less is usually my motto. So while I do think the original one is beautiful, I mean, obviously I signed up for the test knit, I actually prefer something a little bit lower profile. So I am going to rework the tie, do the thinner one, and hopefully get moving pretty quickly on finishing this baby up. So let's do that, and then maybe I can answer a few questions while we knit and chat for a little bit.
Lately my thoughts got me distant. Darker days filling up darker minds. Stuck in this room that keeps spinning, wondering how you been, where you hide.
Okay, so while I really wanted to knit on this while we chat, I think I probably need to pay a little bit more attention because I do kind of need to count what row I'm on. So I'm gonna knit on my half and half wrap. Half and half is always there when I need it. Half and half has arrived, so I thought maybe I could answer a few of the questions that you guys very generously left for me. So we'll see how many questions we have time for. And what I plan to do is just to continue chatting about them in different videos until I run out of questions. So first up, I got about 3 or 4 questions on my knitting story, or how I started knitting, when I got into it, who taught me, all that stuff. So I have actually been around crafting for as long as I can remember. My mom's main focus was not fiber related. She was an amazing photographer. She had these awesome, cool vintage Nikon cameras, and she had a dark room in the 70s and 80s. She took awesome pictures. I love looking at her old pictures. She's also very gifted with words. She can write a beautifully eloquent and lovely letter or story. She can also play the flute, she can play the piano, so she's very artistic and creative, but fiber wasn't really her medium of choice. However, my nanny was a quilter, and I can remember from my earliest memories her having her own quilting room and always having a quilt in her big hoop and hand stitching lovely, lovely pieces of fabric together. She would take me to her quilt group with her. I definitely had making in my life from the beginning. But I started first with crochet, and that was when I was about 10 years old. An older lady that was a friend of our family, she would crochet a lot. I remember getting that chain stitch down, and boy, I'd have like 20 feet of chain stitch. I'd be like, okay, what do I do now? I wasn't very good at it, or didn't get super involved in it at that point. I basically could chain stitch and then do like a single crochet. I didn't really learn much more than that at the time. So then when I was about 14, 15, 16, a different older lady that was friends with our family, we spent a lot of time with her, and she was really gifted with crochet. And I remember being amazed, and when I look back on it now, I'm even more amazed by the fact that she had failing eyesight. In fact, I think she was legally blind. She couldn't see hardly anything, but yet she could crochet these gorgeous, beautiful granny squares and blankets. And so she taught me how to make a baby blanket out of granny squares. and I absolutely loved it. I remember sitting in my room and just crocheting granny squares away, and I felt like it was really easy for me to learn. I really loved it. So fast forward a few years, and I decided to try to learn to knit. Well, that did not come easy to me. And I wish now, looking back, that I would have known about continental knitting, because I think the fact that I was a crocheter and I was used to holding my yarn in my left hand, that I could have picked up continental knitting much easier than trying to learn English, but I didn't even know it was a thing. And I wasn't on YouTube, you know, it was all from reading books and trying to figure out from pictures from books from the library, or, you know, different things like that. And it was just really hard. And I kept giving up, and then I'd try again, and, you know, I wouldn't get further than a scarf. Well, fast forward a few years more, and I decided I was going to make a hat. So I made an entire hat, first time ever, on DPN needles, and I loved it. I thought it was so much fun, and I loved the way it looked. I was immediately addicted. So from that point on, I kind of gave up crochet because I was so fascinated by learning how to knit, and that became my focal point. And I feel like I never really learned any more difficult techniques with crochet, and I wish I would have. But with knitting, I continue to try more and more advanced techniques, and I just absolutely love it. So I've been knitting for about 10 years now, and I still love it. I just love it more and more every year, I think. It's so calming and relaxing. I am an English style knitter, or a thrower, sometimes flicker. It depends. When I do color work, I will throw and pick at the same time because it makes it a little bit easier, and that's the only time I pick though. And I don't really feel the need to switch to continental. I'm happy with English style. I feel like my speed is good and I can do it without looking, and I'm just happy with it, so I don't feel any need to switch. Okay, here's another question about my past. Did you go to college, ever been in the workforce, or have you always been a stay-at-home wife? I mean that in a nice way. I myself have always been a housewife with little part-time jobs here and there. So yes, actually, I have been in the workforce. I did go to college. I know this is surprising to hear, but I was actually quite the scholarly child. So yeah, I went to public school, and I actually skipped a couple of grades and graduated early. I graduated at 16. And in my last few years of high school, I went to college simultaneously. So I was really close to having my associate's degree when I graduated. So I just needed a few more classes. It didn't take me that long to get that. And then I decided I wanted to work in the medical field. I actually have asthma, and I was fascinated by respiratory care. So I ended up going to the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences and graduated with my bachelor's degree in cardiorespiratory care. So yeah, I am a registered respiratory therapist. Well, I was in the workforce for quite a while doing that, and I loved it. I at first started with pediatric and neonatal ICU care at Children's Hospital in Little Rock, and it ended up just not being for me. I very much take on other people's emotions and carry it with me, and it was very difficult. I would form a connection with these sweet, beautiful babies and children, and I just would fall in love with them, and it was heart-wrenching to see them suffer, and see them suffer from different diseases that many times were incurable. And I remember coming home and laying on my parents' kitchen floor just crying because it was so heart-wrenching for me. So I ended up specializing in the adult intensive care unit, which was my favorite. I definitely spent most of my time there. I did sometimes work in the ER and sometimes also with babies, neonatal but by far I specialized in adult ICU, and that was the best fit for me. I loved it and it was awesome. After a couple of my kids were born, I ended up developing an autoimmune disease, which made me very sick. And so because of that, I decided to take a break from the workforce and started to stay home with my family instead, which honestly, I'm not sure which is more work. Well, then for a while, I also did photography professionally. So mainly what I'm doing now is homeschooling the kids and working with our bees, and that keeps me very busy. Part of me definitely feels fulfilled by artistic endeavors. So part of me definitely feels a sense of fulfillment from artistic endeavors. I absolutely feel a constant need to create. I love to create. I love photography, videography. All of that is a passion that I have, and I love it. And it is very fulfilling for me. But I also have a side that, I guess you could say I also have a bit of a scientific half, because I do absolutely love learning about the human body and learning about different pathologies and the way things work. And there's such a sense of fulfillment in being able to provide care for someone and see it make a difference. Maybe help them get on the correct medication, help them make life changes, help them start treatment and really see a difference in their quality of life. That's something I very much enjoy. I also love a puzzle. I mean, I love looking at an individual and taking their symptoms and their chest x-ray and their CT scans and their blood work and painting a picture and then working with the team to make a diagnosis. And sometimes it's very exciting in the moment under pressure to work quickly and work well. So I did enjoy all of that. But thankfully, I do find that I'm happy whether I'm doing that or whether I'm working here at home. So I enjoy both of those things. Okay, so another question is, what is something people usually assume about you? I don't know. I guess that I like chocolate, which I don't. I'm not a chocolate man. I don't know what people assume about me. I'm pretty much an open book, so you figure me out pretty quickly. Tell me in the comments, what do you assume about me? And I'll tell you if you're right. What is something in knitting you have zero interest in trying? I can't think of anything. I think I would try anything once. I'm trying to think of something that I do not want to do. 4-stranded color work? I hate it, but I've done it. Man, I think I would be willing to try anything in knitting. I don't know. So that's all the questions I'm gonna do today, but next time we'll do a few more. I am starting a test knit for Hannah G Knits, which she also has a YouTube podcast. Her name is Hannah Graham. So I'm actually gonna make some socks for one of my kiddos, and the name of the pattern is, I think it's the school sock set. Let me look. Okay, so the name of the pattern is the Back to School Sock Set by Hannah Graham. They are some adorable ribbed socks with a folded cuff. And I am going to finally use this Woolberry Fiber Co Tweed. Let me see. This was one of the collective colorways, which y'all have seen me show before. So out of this skein, I'm planning on making myself a pair of ribbed socks and one of my kids a pair of the back to school socks. What I need to do is wind this up so that I am able to start on that test, and I also need to finish my tie. Also, I am so excited. It is our wedding anniversary this month, and my husband got me a present. He got me a Luca wooden ball winder and a Swift. So I already did have a Swift, but if you've seen videos of it, it's broken and it's like held together with tape. And then I have a wooden Craft Destiny, or not wooden, I have a plastic Craft Destiny ball winder, which is nice. It works fine, but I absolutely love a wooden anything. So he was very sweet and ordered me one of them. So I'm gonna set all of that up, and I need to wind my yarn. I'm gonna make some lunch. I think I'm gonna make some tuna salad. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix all of that up. I'm gonna head out and do a few more chores and try not to get any more skin cancer. And I will see y'all shortly. We've split a few beehives, so we have some more. And these are getting ready for the fall honey harvest. These new ones that we split, we will not harvest honey from. Flowers have just exploded, so I'm going to show you some of them while I'm out here.
I'm aware of the bonds that were created today. When you told me that sure there's a way, so still, and my pain has gone away. The air is much cleaner after it rains. Follow my love, the scent that's in spring air. Follow the moon into the sun. There's a call for new beginnings here. Let the sorrow of yester disappear. Let your body be new. I'm a wanderer of the soul. Before the end I plan to behold, but I know I'll lose myself along the way. What's gone is gone. What's past is past. Let me leave what belongs in the past. The road ahead is quite unclear. Let me walk it despite fear. The road stretches over the hills, and I've got many debts to pay. Some are on their own way. My pay is not gold. You can't take anything with you when you go. Is your life faded more than you know? A state of mind is set on fear that ends uncertain, future's near. Follow the voices from below. Wherever I go, there's a chain. My own shackles drive me insane. Let your body be new.
Hello everyone, it is about 6 o'clock p.m. or 1800 hours here at YoungFolk Bee Farm. Thankfully there's a nice breeze coming through, and we've been doing a little bit of bee work and a little bit of work in the chicken coop. We needed to clean out some of the pine shavings, so we did a little bit of a divide and conquer. And now that we are exhausted and hot and sweaty, my husband is actually going to fly some RC planes for fun, and then I'm going to head inside and finish the evening out. hello, Fiber friends. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me today. I think I'm actually done with everything I needed to do, so I'm going to put a record on and make some hot tea and relax. I'll be seeing y'all soon. Happy knitting.
Sometimes love is a river running strong, moving like a wave through a rocky riverbed. Sometimes love is a dancer in the dark, spinning, laughing, twirling through the back door of your heart. And every time I think of you, well, something happens in my mind. And every time I try to leave, you're keeping me occupied. I'm losing track of time. Losing track of time.